The woman wanted to test her husband's loyalty, so she built a secret room behind the mirror. After setting everything up, she left a breakup letter, then hid inside the secret room to observe his reaction. Soon, she saw her husband crying his heart out. Excited, she pulled out her phone, eager to show off to her best friend, proudly saying that her husband still loved her. But as she watched him grieve in pain, she suddenly regretted everything, deciding to end this test. However, when she tried to step out of the secret room, she realized the key wouldn't turn no matter how hard she tried. Her heart sank instantly. She frantically reached for her phone to call for help, only to find there was no signal inside. Panicking, she pounded on the glass, shouting for her husband to save her, but she had specifically installed shockproof and soundproof insulation to make sure he wouldn't hear anything. Now, that very precaution had become her prison. She was filled with regret, blaming herself for setting up such a foolish test. Calming down, she attempted to pick the lock with a hairpin, but in her desperation, she pushed too hard and cut her hand, fighting back the pain. She tore a piece off her dress and wrapped the wound. Maybe it was the stress or exhaustion, but at some point, she unknowingly fell asleep. When she woke up, she looked through the mirror in horror. Her husband and best friend were laughing and playing in the living room. At that moment, she realized she had been tricked. This secret room was something she and her best friend had designed together. From the inside, she could see and hear everything outside clearly, but from the outside, all anyone saw was an ordinary mirror. Back then, she had suspected her husband was cheating, because he had grown distant toward her, so she asked her best friend to test him. Her friend had pretended to talk her out of it, saying the risk was too high, but the woman was confident, believing that since she had the key, she could leave whenever she wanted. What she didn't know was that her best friend had secretly switched the key. This entire setup was a trap carefully planned by her so-called friend, and worst of all, her husband had actually fallen for the temptation. Devastated, she pounded on the glass, but no matter how hard she screamed, no one could hear her, until her husband got up to go to the bathroom. She jumped to her feet, a spark of hope igniting in her heart. To get his attention, she turned on the hot water valve inside the secret room. The moment the water started running, her husband flinched, immediately sensing something was wrong. Just as she thought she was about to be saved, her best friend suddenly spoke up, casually saying that something in the house was broken, and asking him to check it out. He hesitated for a moment, but still followed her out. About 3 minutes later, her best friend returned to the mirror alone. At that moment, the woman thought she had come to rescue her.